through either of these paths, and then after initially meeting it, he could quickly reinforce with the second part of his army, which may be at his third here. So TLO with good map control, holding both of these pathways right now, getting down more and more active creep tumors. So we see 2 on that top pathway, 1 down below. Looks like Painuser is preparing this third command center, so perhaps going to land it here, though he will have to move out with an army to protect that. He did lose a number of tanks there, now up to 2. It looks like he is just pushing more Marines and Marauders, as we see an Infestor and a Roach. Not really sure he got his money's worth. He did see the army of Painuser, but possibly could have done that with a cheaper Overlord. Looks like we have Overlords moving out for TLO here. He might be trying a drop, though none of these Overlords actually have anything in them. So he is queuing up a move into the back of the base of Painuser here, actually stopping just short. So I wonder about the placement of these Overlords, if he has some plan for them. Looks like he's pushing forward as this command center is about to land. Painuser is going to have to come out and defend this command center, or else the Zerg player is going to be able to take it down. It has landed. Could throw up a number of infested Terran here if he chooses. Instead, he's just going to pull back. Could use some fungal growth to try to slow down the advancing army of Painuser. Fungal growth so powerful against these Marines. The Marines do have the shield upgrade, 55 health now, but fungal growth is going to do 36 total damage, so Zergling is going to be able to clean up these Marines very easily if they can make it in. Now we see Roaches pushing in. These siege tanks are finally getting sieged a little bit late in the back. Painuser losing about 2/3 of his barracks force. Still spreading creep here. So this would be a perfect time for TLO to counter. It looks like we do have a few bunkers being set down by Painuser, so he does know that right now the positioning for Zerg is very good. TLO could counter with just a stream of Zerglings right here, right past the bunkers if he chooses. Have to get a siege tank or 2, try to do a lot of splash damage to incoming units. Looks like both players are just going to mass up here, macroing up quite a bit. We do have a Greater Spire coming out for TLO, so we have not seen any sort of airplay yet. Now it's finally getting on a few Corruptors, but he skipped Mutalisk altogether. Probably smart against the barracks units of Painuser. Also see him working on Adrenal Glands, as well as melee attack level 2. Painuser getting out the Infernal Pre-Igniter a little bit later, as TLO is off of Zerglings for the most part. He does have upgraded Roaches, 1-0 Roaches right now, with the Tunneling Claws, and he's also about to get Burrow. Looks like we may see some fungal growth trying to slow down the Painuser army. If they do stim up and take that fungal growth, they'd be very, very low, able to be picked off by most anything. Really surprised TLO is giving up this position here. Looks like he tried to run by, and he is in the back of the base of Painuser, but he did give up this position, almost sacrificing this hatchery. He allowed these siege tanks to get into position here. Now we have battles on multiple fronts as we see the Zerglings taking down the SCVs of Painuser here. If you look at the SCV count, he does have 57 SCVs at the start of that. As we see Painuser just picking off all the Roaches from TLO. Needs to advance with these siege tanks and try to take down the rest of the ground army. Down to 49 SCVs for Painuser, so TLO doing quite a bit of damage, getting off another fungal growth, going to slow down this army. And finally, as these Broodlords out, going to try to push back the Marines and Marauders, and can take down these siege tanks, as with the 9.5 range on these Broodlords, quite a bit of range. We see Vikings coming out for Painuser, so that is the answer against these Broodlords. Not much anti-air for TLO right now. He just has the one Queen here. It's not going to be able to take down the Vikings very quickly. Could possibly see a few infested Terran from the Infestors here, as they can focus down the Vikings. Instead, the Vikings look to be focusing down a Broodlord. A great transfuse there, keeping the Broodlord alive just long enough to finish off the Marines and Marauders down there. And finally, it looks like this Broodlord is going to go down to the Viking. The Queen doing its best against these Vikings, but not able to take them down before one Broodlord fell. It looks like Painuser was able to clean up those Zerglings. He did a huge transfer into his natural here with all those SCVs, back up to 51 SCVs, so not much economic damage there. And Liquid TLO did lose that hatchery, so he allowed the siege tanks to get into position here. Not really sure why he gave up that important position. The Broodlords, he might have been waiting on them, as they are sort of siege tank busters, and he knew he did not have those in time as Painuser did move out. but would have liked to see him try to hold the fort right here, maybe throwing down a few more spines earlier as well. See these overlords just dropping creep, going to deny any expansion to the north here, but not really sure why he brought all of them up here. Very susceptible to the Vikings if Painuser finds those. Looks like we do have an overseer down here, so he's going to be able to contaminate any sort of buildings, maybe stop the SCV building for a little bit, and also scout. Looks like we do have this third hatchery up. If we look at the income tab, only 42 workers for TLO, so just not a lot of workers on these 3 bases. Really like to see Zerg player up to 60, 70 drones at this point. If we look at the income, only down to 1,200 compared to Painuser, who's just mining off of 2 bases right now. Painuser about to set up his 4th, getting another planetary fortress, plus he's protected by these destructible debris. Now it looks like TLO is going to come across, try to do a last push in here. If we look at the army tab, 3,300 to 1,800, rapidly going down for TLO as he tries to make it into the main. Not really sure what he hopes to achieve. Perhaps just taking down that one SCV, but now he has all these units trapped in here, as Painuser is going to move these units and clean up that attack. He's got a bunch of Zerglings down here trying to move in, but those blue flame Hellions, as well as those siege tanks, not even in siege mode, are going to be able to take down the Zerglings here. His main's almost cleaned up. He's going to be able to take down the Infestor with this last Marauder and Marine. And now pushing in is Painuser. Going to be taking down this 3rd hatchery once again. And TLO is going to GG here. So Painuser does go ahead 2 games to none. Going to take the series in the 2 games. So it looks like TLO perhaps just did not drone up hard enough in either of these games. It was a little everywhere with his build order as well. Went with those early Zerglings in the first game, just not very effective, and then didn't have much of a plan in the second game. Did some great things spreading creep all over the place, and did a good attack in the main with those Zerglings as he was holding the fort down below here. But I think he gave up that critical position to those siege tanks, and then eventually lost almost his whole army. He got out a few late Broodlords, but they were not enough, as Painuser was able to counter with a few Vikings. So this game does actually go on for another about 15 minutes, where Painuser, if you look at his cam right now, not doing anything, just gaining minerals here. So gonna stop it here, pause it, maybe talk about this series just a little bit more. I really like to see TLO try to take more of an economic advantage, especially on this map where he's able to set up that 2nd hatchery very quickly. He did repel those Hellions early on, so not much damage to his drones there. And like to see him get this up and saturated and protected. Perhaps throwing down a few spine crawlers here. He never did move these spine crawlers. You can move them out to better positions here. Guard a little bit more area, multiple paths if you progress those spine crawlers forward. So perhaps a little bit, these small tips and tricks that TLO is going to pick up as he practices more and more Zerg. He's had a lot of entertaining games in this MLG Dallas action. I did another game of his against Torch. It was very entertaining as he used Nidus Worms and a lot of Terran thinking to take down his Terran opponent as the Zerg. So look forward to casting more TLO games as well as more great MLG Dallas action. If you're looking for more tournament games, MLG Dallas, MLG DC, New York IEM, look back at some of the matchups and some of the rivalries which have developed between players. Check out my channel on YouTube, Matron StarCraft. Leave a comment, let me know how I'm doing. Let me know whether you think the players could have done some things differently. Do you agree that TLO was on too few many drones? I might not have shown that enough in these games, but I really think he just did not get his economy going. So this has been Matron bringing you another best of 3 series from MLG Dallas. Go ahead and keep casting more of these series, so look forward to doing that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.